The rain came down like the sky was weeping. Kansas, 1872. Thunder cracked over the prairie, and the broken ribs of an old barn groaned under the weight of water and wind. Inside, Clara Monroe clutched her infant son tighter to her chest, whispering lullabies into his damp hair. Her other two children, Ella and Thomas, curled up beside a half-fratted bale of hay, shivering under a stolen feed sack. Her dress was soaked through, her bare feet cracked and bleeding. Outside, the storm raged with a violence that felt personal, and maybe it was. Maybe the heavens were punishing her for believing she could outrun the past. Just 6 days earlier, she had stood beside the ashes of a life-hurt drunkard husband's bar, reduced to charred ruin. He'd gone with it, face down in whiskey and fire. There was no insurance, no inheritance, only debts and whispers. The town turned cold overnight. Clara didn't wait to be evicted. She packed what little she could carry, took the children, and headed west. She walked, begged for rides from passing wagons, and was turned away more than once. Men offered her shelter in exchange for shame. One man tried to take it. She bit his hand so hard he screamed. She found the barn 2 days ago, hidden behind a crumbling fence line. It leaned like an old drunk against the wind, but it stood, and it was dry enough, at least at first. Now, after 3 days of rain, the roof had started to leak. Ella coughed. Thomas whimpered in his sleep. Clara stood, her knees shaking, and pushed open the barn door. Rain lashed her face instantly. She limped across the field, scanning for mushrooms, berries, anything. Her ankle gave out in a gopher hole, sending her crashing into mud. Her hands found only rocks and wet grass. She screamed into the night, a sound that disappeared under thunder. She dragged herself back to the barn, soaked to the bone. Her breath came out in gasps. She laid beside her children, trying to pretend she was still a mother and not just a ghost walking in the wrong direction. God, she whispered, if you're still out there, please. She didn't sleep. The next night, she considered walking into the woods and not coming back. The thought clung to her like the cold. But then her baby stirred, reached for her, and murmured, "Mama, I cold." That was enough. She kissed his forehead, stayed alive 1 more hour. That was when she heard the footsteps. Not wind, not animal. Heavy. Intentional. She gripped the rusted pitchfork. A light flickered outside. A lantern. Someone approached slowly. She braced, whispering to her children. Then, without a word, a bundle dropped at the threshold, cloth-wrapped. Food, jerky, a crust of bread, a folded blanket. And then the man walked away. She didn't follow. She just cried. Morning came without mercy. Clara limped to the barn doors. The bundle remained real food, real warmth. The kids devoured it with quiet wonder. She tried to resist, but her own hands trembled too much. Hunger always wins. That night, the man returned. She stayed hidden in the shadows, eyes narrowed. He left firewood this time, then turned, without a word, and walked into the rain. The next night, fresh milk, and a pair of worn children's boots. She stepped outside, heart pounding. "Why?" she asked the darkness. "Why are you helping us?" No answer, just a respectful nod, and retreating boots. She followed him once, down the trail. A simple log cabin sat nestled among cottonwoods. A cross in the garden bore a woman's name, Amelia Rose, 1839 to 1871. She believed in rainbows. He had known loss too. That night, she told Ella stories by the lantern light. How she once dreamed of being a teacher. How her mother had read her poetry. "Can I learn to read, Mama?" Ella asked. Clara turned her face away. "Of course, baby." 1 day, later, she walked to his cabin and returned the tin pot, left it on his porch. "Thank you," she whispered, "for not asking anything." One afternoon, trouble came. 2 men, former ranch hands, swaggered toward the barn. One recognized Clara. Well, Ain't you the preacher's daughter? You. We're too proud for favors. The other grabbed her wrist. Get off, she shouted. Before he could answer, a rifle crack split the air. The widower stood at the edge of the clearing, his voice calm. She's under my roof. The men hesitated, then cursed, and backed away. He didn't say anything more, just walked away. That night, Clara sat on his porch, hand bandaged. He poured tea. For the first time, he spoke. Name's Eli. She didn't respond, but she didn't leave either. Another storm rolled in. Eli knocked on the barn post. You're not safe? Out here. Come in. Just for tonight. She hesitated. You don't even know me, she said. He looked at her gently. I know what it's like to wish someone had said, come home. So I'm saying it now. She followed. The cabin was small, warm, lived in. A kettle steamed. He made stew, then came shouts. The two men from before, drunk, angry. One held a torch. You think you're better than us, Eli? Stealing our women now. They lit the barn. Flames roared. Kids screamed. Clara rushed out, cradling her baby. Ella clung to her leg. Eli fired once. One man fell. The other charged. Fist met jaw. Wood splintered. Clara picked up a shovel. Struck. Hard rain poured. Steam hissed from the barn as the fire died. The men fled. Eli collapsed beside her. Still. Got some fight left. She pulled him inside. Days passed. He healed slowly. She read children's books aloud at his bedside. Her voice wavered, then steadied. One morning, he gave her a notebook. You said you wanted to teach. The children learned letters. They planted tomatoes. She cleaned, rebuilt the porch, sewed curtains. One afternoon, she walked to the old barn, now blackened ruin. She planted wildflowers. The world will break you if you let it, her voice said in the wind. But sometimes, there's a hand that reaches back, even in the storm. She returned to the porch. Eli was carving. You left the door open, she said. He nodded. Her daughter laughed. The boy chased chickens, and Clara finally breathed. In a world that forgets the forgotten, kindness still speaks loudest. If Clara's story moved you, share it with someone. Who needs a reminder? There's always hope in the storm. Like, comment, and don't forget to subscribe for more soul-stirring tales.